Panginoong Diyos, aming Ama, ang Diyos ng awa at mapagpatawad. Ang biyaya mo ay tunay at lubos, walang katulad at banal. Ngayong Kapaskuhan at nalalapit na bagong taon, inaalala namin ang tunay na regalo sa sangkatauhan. Pinagkaloob mo ang iyong anak na si Jesus upang kami na naniniwala ay maligtas sa aming mga kasalanan at sa kamatayan. Marami sa amin ang nalulungkot at nangungulila sa mga mahal namin sa buhay na nawala dahil sa COVID virus, sakuna at mga sakit. Pakinggan niyo po ang aming mga panalangin at panaghoy. Kalamayin niyo po ang aming mga puso at bigyan ng lingap at kapayapaan kaming mga naulila at nahihirapan. Naway ang kalooban niyo po ang maghari at maganap. Ikaw po ang tunay at may alam ng bawat kalagayan ng iyong mga anak. Espiritu Santo, o aming Diyos, datnan mo po kaming tapat at naglilingkod sa iyo. Ito ang aming samot panalangin na may buong pusong pagtitiwala sa ngalan ng Ama, Anak, at Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kanta at programang Tatak Pinoy. Napapanood at napapakinggan kahit saan ka man. Streaming worldwide. In South Manila, this is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Dahil mahal namin kayo.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Buckle up and get ready, set, and go. Join Sports Girl anchor Nicole Ganglani as she dives deep into the lives of athletes, fitness personalities, and enthusiasts from the sports industry. This is Sportswatch, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Hello mga ka-sports tropa, this is your sports girl anchor Nicole Ganglani welcoming you to our show where we talk all things sports and fitness. Buckle up, get ready, set, and go. We're here to put the spotlight on different athletes from different sports to hopefully inspire you to be better every day. So it's a new year, new episode, and that means it's a new sport. So for today's show, we're putting our focus on Philippine football. Besides our Philippine football team, we've got a couple of notable professional football clubs based in Manila, one of which is the Maharlika Manila Football Club, commonly referred to as Maharlika. It's a professional football club that competes in the Philippine Football League. For today, we've got two of the team's midfielders to talk more about the club and the football scene here in the Philippines. Let's bring out Javi Consuela and Peter Varley. Yay! There you go. Hello, Peter and Javi. Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys doing today?
Good. Pretty good. Yeah, I'm good.
Do you guys wanna give our audience some sort of introduction before we get to the cues, like just your name and where you guys are from? Siguro, let's start with you, Javi.
All right. Hi, I'm Javi. I'm 23, and I'm a winger for Maharlika Manila FC.
And Peter.
Hi, I'm Peter, 24, half British, half Filipino, and I'm a winger from Maharlika FC.
Yeah, there's that accent right there. So, this is the first time in the show where we're doing football. So this is gonna be really interesting because we're gonna talk about the football scene here in the Philippines and just a glimpse of what it's like, and of course more about your team. So before we get to that, can I just ask you both, how did you both get into football? Maybe we can start with you, Peter. Um, when was the start of you getting into football basically?
Yeah, so getting into football for me was mainly when I moved to England when I was 9 years old.
Right.
So when I moved to England,
Common sport there, no?
yeah, it's massive though. Like it's probably the most popular sport
Yeah.
to them. But I think for me, at the beginning when I first moved there, I was still playing basketball, but as soon as I got into school there, and everyone in school was either talking about football or playing it after school, so that really got me into it. And then also, my dad would take me to some Chelsea games in London, and that was like when I really started really liking the sport because I got to see it played at the highest level. And you go to the stadium and you see the atmosphere and all the fans. It was very good. That was when I really got into it, and I was playing for my school and stuff like that.
How old were you then, Peter?
Like 9 or 10 years old.
9 or 10 years old. So it was more of like your dad exposed you kind of thing, he
Yeah, pretty
really
much.
showed you the sport. Or do you still play basketball? You had mentioned that basketball was your first sport. No, not.
No.
But you keep up with the basketball scene here in the Philippines.
Yeah, growing up, because I did grow up a bit here in Manila, so there was a bit of influence in terms of basketball, but
Yeah.
as soon as I moved away, it just sort of
Yeah.
disappeared.
I,
Really.
I know we'll get to this a little later, but I'm curious. Is there a big difference between how football is like there in the other side of the world compared to here in Manila?
Yeah.
Very good.
Over there in Europe, well, pretty much in a lot of other places, it's viewed as like the main sport.
Right.
So like it's massive, really. Like even in most other Asian countries, it's the main sport.
It's still the main
I
sport.
think. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's how you got into it. How about you naman, Javi? How did you get into football? Was this something that you've been playing also since you were young, like Peter?
Yeah, actually, I started playing football when I was 7. My parents enrolled me to a summer camp here in
Mm,
Alabang, and I fell in love with the game ever since. I played a lot of sports growing up, actually, basketball, tennis, swimming,
right.
but none of them hit me in the fields as much as playing football.
Yeah.
So I stuck with it ever since.
Yeah. So, Javi, what was it about football that made you pursue that in the long run? Like you had mentioned that you did quite a few sports, but like why football? What was the reason why the sports?
Um, well, for me, I would consider football as probably one of the most passionate sports that you could witness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember there was this one football game I was watching at home. It was around 3 in the morning. It was Manchester City versus
Yeah,
QPR.
here in the Philippines, the games are pretty late, no?
It is. It is
Like
pretty
the
late.
NBA, it's early morning, which is more
Mm-hmm.
bearable path to wake
Yep.
up for. But the football games here, if I'm not mistaken, is around 3, 2
Yeah.
a.m.
2, 3 a.m.
Yeah,
Especially when it's Champions League season.
yeah,
The
the World
matches are always
Cup
pretty
and
late.
all that, right?
But I would say because in football you don't see a lot of goals. Like it's it's not often you get a lot of high scoring games, and you can just see it like when a team scores you can just see how happy they are, or if a team
Mm,
concedes
yeah,
you can just see how devastating it looks.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a beautiful game, so that's
it
why.
is definitely. So, how about you, naman, Peter? What was it about football that you stuck with? Like, were you always traveling back and forth to Philippines and Europe, or it was you were in Europe na talaga where you decided na you pursue football?
Yeah, so for me, I wasn't really traveling back and forth. Like when I moved
Mm,
there when I was 9, that was it. Like I stayed there until I finished my schooling, and like I didn't decide to really pursue it until after I finished my school because um, at the end of my schooling, like they have like this end of year sort of report thing or like end of school report thing, and my PE teacher actually like on his report said something about like my ability in football was quite
oh wow!
surprising. And
Shout out to your PE teacher.
yeah, no, exactly. Like, and honestly, before that, I wouldn't have really like thought about really pursuing it. But it was just that really got me sort of thinking, oh, maybe I do have a future in football. And also at the time, there was this guy called Lee Tuck,
Mm,
who is another English football player,
okay.
who decided to go to Asia to begin, like, to start playing professionally because he thought like it would be a lot easier to get into because the level in England is very high.
You're
So
right.
like, if you wanted to get professional experience, it'd be better to go out to Asia. So and he went to Bangkok specifically, um, and that was where I went also
Right.
after I finished my schooling, and that was where I went to try and sort of start my career in football there also. But like for the sport specifically, what keeps me like playing and actually like really like to play the sport is like how competitive it is. Like because when you're in the pitch, like it's it's really competitive and it sort of pushes you to play to your best level and
Right.
to improve. So I really enjoy that aspect of the game.
Gets. So, what camps or maybe teams were you guys involved in when you guys were young? Like, were there some camps you attended, or even perhaps a varsity you both joined?
For me, I like when I first moved to Bangkok, it was pretty tough. Like we didn't really have any connections, but um, my dad managed to get me into this academy, which was affiliated with Real Madrid at the time, and I sort of stayed there for about a year or a year and a half. And in that time, we had trips to Portugal to
Right.
train with. The first team was Sporting Lisbon, was one trip, and also we went to Benfica after that. It's like sort of camps, football camps, where we train at their training facilities and with their coaches and stuff like that, which is good experience, I feel like.
Yes. How about you naman, Javi? Did you join a varsity? You're from Zobel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually played in the UAAP when I was younger,
Okay.
for
In grade
Lasal,
school,
and then high school,
high school.
and then after high school, I signed for Kaya Football Club. I was with their U17 team, and I played until their B team. And I've also played with Socceroo and Stallion. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's great. Which brings me to where you guys are now. You guys have, like what I mentioned ago, a team, professional football team, Maharlika Manila Football Club, right? So, do you guys have some sort of background on how that team formed? How were you both recruited, and like when did it start? So maybe Javi, you can talk more about it first.
oh, okay. Well, Malika was actually formed pretty recent. It was,
Okay,
yeah.
2009. Yeah.
No, well, the PFL team was actually formed just a few months ago, like
Okay.
2 months before the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anton said he was putting a team together, and the opportunity was there, so I couldn't say no to that. And
Yeah, for sure.
and they put together a really good team
Yeah,
on and off the pitch. So
gets. How was your react? What was your reaction when you got like that offer?
uh felt like a kid, to be honest. Like
Yeah,
yeah, reaching this level, because I was always so close to it, but I dealt with a lot of injuries growing up.
yeah,
So that really set me back, and this is like the one time that I really didn't deal with any major injury. So
right.
it felt good for me.
Yeah. How about you naman, Peter? How did you find Maharlika Manila? Like, did they reach out to you? Like, how was the recruitment like?
So for me, so at the time Maharlika was formed, it was I was about to sign for a different team called. Well, I did technically sign for Global, another team in the PFL, but that's a whole different story. But anyway,
We have time. We have time.
well, basically, it was a whole scam. Basically,
Oh,
Global in 2020. They signed players, offered contracts, like real contracts, signed players, and it was meant to all go ahead, but like long story short, it didn't. So, but yeah. So after that, I was sort of like scrambling to try
yeah.
and get into the team
You
because
were here
I did want to
in
play.
the Philippines by then, like permanently
I was
settled.
what? Sorry.
You were already permanently settled here in Manila then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had come back from Bangkok in 2019, so I was here for a while. But yeah. So after that, I was scrambling to look for a team because I did want to play here. So instead of going back to Bangkok, so yeah, I ended up I heard about Maharlika FC and I contacted Cedric to see if there was still like space for me in the team, basically.
Yeah.
And
Nice. It was meant for you.
it was funny because Cedric said, "Oh, I would have messaged you, but I thought you went back to Bangkok already." So,
Oh, okay.
so yeah,
Interesting.
but yeah, that was it. I didn't get recruited. I sort of put myself in just by messaging.
Yes. Thanks for that, Peter. Before we dive deep into your tournaments, can we please show their photos? Yeah. There we go. So this is you guys. I'm assuming you here.
It's Sorry, what?
I'm assuming this is Twitter.
Yeah. That's
Okay. And then next there. Is that you? Yeah, that's you. That your jersey number 4.
that's against Stallion. That was game that was our first game that we won by club.
And
So
then
yeah.
okay. There's a jersey.
Yeah.
Then next photo to have that's your team. Let's do it. Next. Oh, there's Javi. And then next. That's your team. Right now.
Yeah.
And then next. Okay. I'm assuming. Okay. So after seeing your photos, let's talk more about your team tournaments. You guys had mentioned you just formed recently, right? So I believe, especially now where COVID's like very relevant, your tournaments were cut short. So,
Yeah.
what tournaments have you guys competed in?
So
Maybe.
most recently, it was the PFL back
Right.
in late October, early November. It was a very short tournament. It was just 5 games because it was just a single round robin. So we play each team once only.
Yeah. Who were the teams
So-
you guys competed with?
So there's Stallion Laguna FC, United City FC, the Ascol's development team, Mendiola, and
Ascos
Kaya.
team. How was it like facing the Ascos team?
Well, what do you have to say about that, Steve? It was a good experience. They're really hungry. They're young. They're fast. Really
They're fast.
fast. Very technical. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a really good team, actually.
Did you guys win or did Ascos win?
No, they won. Yeah, they won.
They won. What was the score?
I can't actually remember.
I can't remember too.
No worries. Was this
No.
the? Sorry, go ahead.
No, but the Ascos development team, that's a
Yeah.
team to look out for. They have a lot of players who are the future of this country. So
That's
yeah, that's a
interesting.
team to watch out for.
Okay, right. What other tournaments did you guys compete in besides the Philippine Football League?
So far, nothing.
So far, that's
'Cause we were formed just 2 months before the
Mm.
PFL began. So this last year now. So
Right.
it wasn't really. And then after that, it's the winter break and stuff like that. So
yeah. Was this the tournament that was held in a bubble?
yeah.
Yep.
So how was it like in the bubble, Javi? Like, was it 'cause the bubble I really followed was the NBA bubble, and obviously that's like a bigger league.
It was
Yeah.
sort of the same format. It was held in Seda, Nuvali,
Oh,
and
wow.
our games were held in the PFF training center in
Right.
Carmona, Cavite.
Oh wow.
It was
You were able
it
to
was
pull
really
it
good
off.
experience. Yeah, the league did a really good job of making sure that the health and safety protocols were all in check. It was fun. It was really fun. Although I could say that the swab tests were
I know, I can imagine. Did you have to take that every day?
every other day.
Okay.
Before
How
our
was
games,
that
we would
like?
have to. Yeah.
How was that like?
Uh, painful. It's painful. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the process. It's something we really have to get through to make sure that everything's safe and secured for us to
Yeah.
play. So
Right. How long were you guys in that bubble?
Um, it got extended for like 2 days because the first match day was postponed by I think what was it 2 days or something. So
Yeah, because there was a
we got in
typhoon.
there. Yeah, we got in there at like I think what was it like the 19th or something. I think the
21st, I think
19th of
21st.
October
Yeah,
or 21st of October. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and then it finished on the 7th or 8th or something like that.
Right. And who were the teams you guys were competing against in the bubble? Can you name a few?
Oh, that's it. Yeah. The same teams, the Ascos development team, Kaya
Okay.
Iloilo, Stallion Laguna, yeah, UCFC, and Mendiola.
Yeah, must have been really remarkable. So I'd like to ask how is it like competing in a professional football scene here in the Philippines? Can you give us a preview on how it's like? Like, is it intense? Is it how does it go compared to like let's say for you having your case a varsity matchup? Like, is there a big difference in the professional setting?
Uh, yeah, definitely. The tempo of the game is way faster.
Hmm.
Um, the speed of the ball, the movements. It's different. That's all I can say. It's different. It's very tactical
Intensity is
compared
way
to
higher.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
how about you naman, Peter? You've been like in Europe, where you've been exposed there, and in Bangkok as well, right? You had mentioned a while ago. So how is the Philippine football? How are the Philippine football games here in the Philippines compared to how it's like abroad?
Um, I think it's like it may not be as popular here, but I think the level isn't actually that far behind, honestly,
Oh, that's interesting.
because like especially like to compared to Bangkok, I mean, like especially because like I think in terms of like the mindset of players and stuff like that, in Bangkok it was a bit different. I think some of the older Thai players in Bangkok wouldn't really they sort of just go through the motions, you know.
Yeah.
But like here, it's a lot more competitive, and the players are a lot more. You know, I think they're a lot hungrier to actually like
Mm,
achieve something. So
right.
like the matches and training and stuff, it's actually a bit more competitive and intense like
How it's like.
compared to how it is in abroad. Sorry, like
Yeah, that's nice to
that's
hear.
really good.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So, besides your team, I'd like to go more on your personal achievements. What would you guys say are your notable achievements thus far? So, where we can start with you, Peter.
For me, I think honestly, just actually becoming a professional football player is like
Nice. Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
massive. Um, like it takes a lot of work and dedication to do it, but I think at the end of the day, it's worth it
For
if
sure.
you
Yeah.
really like the sport, and also making it like this is the first time I played here in the Philippines, but you know I think playing abroad's also like in Bangkok is a good achievement also because the level is definitely above there, but I still managed to you know be able to play there and stuff like that. So
Nice. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, that's remarkable. Congrats on that. How about you, naman, Javi? What are some of your individual notable achievements?
Same with Peter. Becoming a professional football player. It's always been one of my dreams, and
Yeah.
finally achieving it. It was a really big step in my life, and something I'm not going to be taking for granted.
Yeah, for
Although
sure.
when I was younger, because I grew up playing as a goalkeeper,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
I
you were both
remember,
then, right?
yeah, I was.
Yours.
But yeah, I remember the UFL Youth League. It's kind of like it was like the PFL for youth teams basically.
Yeah.
And I remember my last year as a U17 player, we won the championship undefeated, and we won our semifinals and our finals matchup through a penalty shootout.
Hmm.
So Yeah, I was able to bag home the MVP for that. That was
Oh
a pretty good
wow.
feeling, also. I
Yeah,
have to say.
for sure. So what made you decide to change positions? Are you still a goalkeeper or
No, no.
no?
I started playing actually as a midfielder,
Right.
and
Okay.
then when I started playing with Zubel, I had fun playing in goal, and it kind of helped that I grew a couple of inches as well. So it kind of stuck from there, and then but I dealt with a lot of injuries playing as a
Okay.
goalkeeper, so
Yeah.
I thought, I'm getting older. Why not go back to what I used to play? So
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So in football, I got to ask, how are the positions determined? Is it something you yourself individually know that okay, I'm a goalkeeper, I'm a middle fielder, or is it something that your coach assigns you to? How is the positioning like?
I think it's a lot to do with how you develop as a player. So like if when you start young, like as you grow up, you tend to go through almost all the positions really.
Right.
Like and then as you grow up, like you see which positions that you actually play in the best. Like your coach can help you to determine that. But I think as you grow up, it's important to try almost all the positions to see like
Yeah.
which ones you're good at. So
So
it's not really
Peter,
like predetermined.
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, sorry, I'm done. I'm done. Sorry.
Yeah. No, no, I didn't catch your last sentence. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So um when did you settle on the idea that you were really a middle fielder? Or was this something that you grew up knowing that?
Um. Honestly, like Javi, at the very beginning, I was also a goalkeeper. Like I wanted to be a goalkeeper. Actually,
Oh, okay.
at the very beginning, when I was 9. Yeah,
Abby didn't know that.
Javi did. But
I
yeah,
did not
like
know that. I did not know that.
Oh,
Back when
yeah, I
Peter had
actually.
hair, probably.
Yeah, it actually was. But yeah. So when I actually wanted to be a goalkeeper at that time, but as I sort of grew up, I sort of grew out of that. And at first, I was like a centre back, and then a centre back for a while, and then when I first moved to Bangkok, um, I was still a defender. It was
mm,
either centre back or right back, and and then as I developed even more, like I'd be playing as a wing back or a winger, and then also I'd be playing at striker because in Bangkok, like they like to use me for my height because I'm
you
pretty
were pretty
tall
tall there. How was
comparatively.
here? Is it the same way?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
like as a striker, um, if you're playing against mostly smaller players, like it's an advantage
Right.
because you can beat them in the air when the ball comes in for crosses and stuff like that. So, but yeah, and then I didn't sort of land in my sort of preferred position until I was like 20 or 19 because yeah, usually that I would be moving around, sort of like a jack of all trades type of thing. But you'd find where you want to be at some point if you keep trying. So
Yes. Okay. That's cool. So, besides your individual achievements, I'd like to ask, what are your team's achievements so far? Kahit the most notable one at the moment. Is it the mere fact that you've been competing in the like Philippine Football League now? Like, what would you say is your team's greatest achievement so far in your young
Yeah,
and yeah,
I mean, the fact alone that we were able to compete during a pandemic says a lot about the resilience of Philippine football.
right.
And Anton put this team together merely 2 months before, and they
Shout out.
really worked on it to make sure that we were able to play. I mean, we were all put together basically through Zoom, and
Oh
all of
wow.
us are playing on a one pesa. Yeah, and all of
Do
us
you
are
guys
playing
know
on
each
a
other?
one pesa salary.
Did you guys know each other when you guys
Yeah,
were playing?
we knew, some of us knew each other. Yeah, but I remember the first time we actually trained on the field. That was like a really big step for our
Yeah.
club. Really good feeling,
This was
finally
during
being able
COVID.
to step on a field like that.
Was this during COVID?
Yep, it was. Yep.
Where was your training in? Where were you guys training at?
Well, we started training in Carmona, Cavite, and then we moved over to Circuit Makati.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. S- how about you, Peter? Would you like to chime in on what you think so far is your team's biggest achievement, or is it like having happened, the mere fact that you guys were put together during COVID?
I think yeah, like mostly echoing Javi because
Yeah,
like it was definitely like a massive achievement to put everyone
for
together
sure, for sure.
during COVID,
Yeah,
with the Zoom sessions to begin with, and
yeah,
then like, and also just I think how we played in the league is something to be proud about, to be honest.
for sure.
Also because like we weren't. I mean, we definitely weren't pushovers, like mostly. So like I think we showed ourselves and we earned the respect of like our peers and the fans at the same time, I think.
Yeah,
So I think that's also a good thing.
thanks for that. So I like how you both touched on the topic of like Philippine football in general. I'd like to ask, what do you both think is the current state of football here in the country? How are we viewed around the world? And do you guys think like there's still so much to do, or have we progressed, or is there still room to grow? So maybe we can start with you, Javi. Javi, I think you're on mute, or I think you're mute. Oh, I can't hear. No. Sige, let's start with you na lang. Let's start with you na lang first, Peter.
Okay.
Happy
Yeah.
to.
So
He'll be back.
I've
And
only yeah
go on.
I've only been back in the Philippines since 2019. So like I wasn't really well versed in how football was here, but
Mm,
I think when I first got here, I had literally like the night after I got here, I was looking to see if I could play some football, and I I looked at Facebook or Instagram, and there's a page called Kick It Manila, and
right.
they have these like futsal nights every Thursday, I think it was, and I attended one of those, and it was really good to have. Like I didn't even know that they were that into football here. Like there was these little groups that were sort of like really promoting the game. Like it was futsal, but yeah. And the creator there, I talked to him, and he also let me know about the open plays in BGC at BGC Turf,
Yeah. Pre-COVID.
and
Yeah.
yeah, pre-COVID, yeah,
It was a popular thing, yeah, for
yeah.
football.
And
Yeah.
so I attended one of those also, and like there's definitely people that there's a lot of people that are into the game here, but I think the main problem is actually like the accessibility of the sport. Like I think there could be more done with how there could be more done about how people like how much people can play the sport. So like there should be more of like football, like the football Manila and the futsal nights and the open plays and that. I think there should be more and more of those.
Yeah.
So just anyone can go and play.
Yeah.
But um, honestly, I was surprised that how well the sport, like the players, like the actual talent of the players here is good. Like, because a lot of players, like there's a lot of players already, Filipino players that are playing abroad, like in Bangkok. Like there's a ton of players in Bangkok playing now from the Philippines.
Mm,
So like the talent is here. It's just
yeah,
that it's just not that popular yet.
yeah.
Sadly, I think it will get there.
Would you say it has grown?
I think even in the time that I've been here, like the year or so, just over a year I've been here, like it's definitely growing. I think. Yeah.
Definitely growing. Javi, are you back? Is your mic better?
Am I?
Oh yeah, there you go.
No.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the question I the question I had asked before you disappeared was more about the football scene here in the Philippines. What are your thoughts on that? Do we still have room to grow, or yeah, what would you say about that?
Well, 100%, definitely. I mean, Philippine football hasn't stopped growing, especially through the last couple of years or so. Um, if you take a look at the SEA Games that happened here back during 2019, this is like watching our youth, like our under 23 team, attract that much people to watch shows
Yeah.
that okay, it's actually growing. And then you have our men's national team, which
Yeah.
qualified for the Asian Cup for the first time, and you have our women's national team who are pretty close to qualifying for the World Cup
Oh yeah.
itself. So, and then with the PFL here as well, they're going to be adding clubs. It's just Philippine football is 100% growing. It's got a
That's
bright
great to
future.
hear. Yeah, great. So, is it your goal to bring rise to Philippine football? If so, what do you guys constantly do to make it happen? Like, do you have that in your heads na parang, okay, you want to be part of, like what Peter said a while ago, just pushing it out there and, yeah, basically bringing rise to the sport?
Well, because what me and my friend Jovi have been doing in the
Yeah.
south, because we live in the BF Alabang area, we started this thing called Southside Football,
Okay.
which is basically like a gateway for different communities to be able to get to know where you can play football or futsal. And it's helped quite a bit, like more and more people have been showing up to futsal, more and more people would show up to open play. Yeah, I think you just need to put the word out there that you can actually play the game, because when you hear football, you automatically think of this huge grass field, right? But you can play it on a court.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right anywhere, actually.
We live in the Philippines, and there are basketball courts everywhere. Literally everywhere you go, you'll see a basketball court.
Yeah.
Pop 2 goals, and there you can play.
Yeah, anywhere. Yeah.
You get the word out, that you can actually play it. People will play it. So
Get. Yeah, thanks for that. So before we head to break, I'd like to ask you both. Can you please share some encouraging words lang, or how someone can, or even a kid or adult can get into football like right now? Like based on your experience and how you both got into it, what can they do to like expose themselves to the sport more? Maybe you can start with you, Peter.
I think now the best thing you can do is, I mean, it's COVID at the moment, so maybe, like you want to stay safe, but
Yeah.
like I think YouTube is a good tool. Like there's so many videos of football on YouTube. Like you can search up like any of the best players. They have tons of footage of them, and you can watch them, and you can just be inspired by those players, the best players that played the game. But also, like if you can go outside, just you can get a ball cheap from Decathlon or anywhere, and you can just start kicking the ball around and just play. Just try and play every day, and really you will get better if you just keep at it. So
Yeah. Cliche but very true, right?
yeah, definitely.
How about you naman, Javi? What advice would you give someone who just basically wants to get into the sport?
well, honestly, what I could say is you'll never know until you try, because it's different. Like once you actually get the hang of playing, you're not gonna want to stop. It's You're gonna want to continue doing it no matter what. Like I would remember at times when I would be injured for months, and I'd just be itching to get
Yeah.
back because of how much I missed it. My best advice is, it may look like a scary sport to some, but you'll never know until you try. Go for it. There's no
I
harm in
like
trying.
Yeah. So it's the simple stuff and just doing it consistently, and like what Javi said, you never really know if you try. So go out there and push yourself. So yeah, we'll be back. We'll hear more from Javi and Peter, but first let's take a break.
We'll be back shortly. This is Sportswatch, only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio Manila. O, di ba madali lang? Kaya i-like at i-follow na. Want to see who will bring home the win? Get ready for Napalm Music Awards. Now back to Sportswatch, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Okay, we're back here at Sports Watch with our guests, Maharlika Manila Football Club members, Peter and Javi. There. Oh, Javi's gone again. Okay, he'll be back soon, I'm assuming. So, Peter, I'd like to ask you, what were your goals as a kid? Parang you had mentioned when you went to Europe, not growing up, right? And then you went to Bangkok. So, did you ever imagine then that you'd be playing football professionally? Or Javi's back?
Yes.
Sorry, my dog was barking.
No worries, no worries.
Okay.
Go, Peter.
So honestly, like I said, growing up, I never really, it wasn't like the main thing for me. But it was just that, like I said earlier, what my teacher told me, my PE teacher told me, and stuff like that, it really inspired me to try and chase that. And ever since then, that has been the goal, to be a professional player. So, but as the years go on, the goals evolve. So, it evolves into different things, like wanting to win competitions and just become a better player.
Yes. How about you, Javi? Sorry. While you were gone, I asked Peter the question. What were your goals as a kid? You had mentioned you were in the varsity team of the Bell, right? So did you imagine by then that you'd be playing football professionally?
Can you guys hear me? Or
Yeah.
no?
Sure.
Okay. Well, growing up as a kid, yeah, honestly, I kept telling myself if I grew up in a different country, because at the time football really wasn't as big as it is now, and being a professional football player is something I've always wanted to do, and now that I have the chance to do it, I mean, there's nothing more I can say. It's like living the dream, basically.
Yeah. So as you grew with your team, like right now you guys are still growing, right? In that stage where you just formed not long ago. What are your goals as a team, basically? Assuming that COVID hopefully subsides, what are your short and long term goals as a team? Maybe we can start with you, Peter.
I think as for the team, getting into the AFC is always going to be the biggest goal.
What is
The
AFC
AFC.
stand for again? Sorry.
I think it's. I'm not sure. I think it's like Asian Football Confederation or
Okay,
something. But
Asian football. Okay.
like the AFC Champions League specifically, because it's like the biggest stage in Asia for football, because it's all the teams from around Asia, like Iran, Japan, China.
Yeah.
They all compete. All the best teams compete there. So I think that's always the biggest goal for the club. But in terms of short term, I feel like is just getting a good set of players back again together and getting training started again and winning games.
How about you, Javi? What would you say are the goals of your team, short and long-term goals? Is it just like Caesars na getting back together?
Yep, exactly the same.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, AFC is the goal.
yeah.
That's every club's goal basically to make it. And we were actually close to making it
Okay, how do
last
you
season.
get there? Like, is there some sort of quota you guys have to reach as a team, or how does one enter the AFC or qualifier?
Uh, you finish within the top two, and the third place team gets a standby slot, from what I heard. Yeah, and
Mm,
we're a pretty fresh team, a pretty young team,
yeah,
and
yeah. You guys just yeah.
we were actually pretty close to making it last season. So next season definitely we'll
You'll
be hungry
really
or looking for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it are there dates now or perhaps where our audience can watch your qualifiers?
Uh, as of right now, no, because there hasn't been a set date for the start of next season yet.
Yeah,
But I heard it should be around May, right? Pete, May.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've heard also.
around May. Okay, so that's interesting. So you guys have to reach the top two of the qualifiers, then hopefully
Mhm.
you can go from there. Okay. So how about your individual goals naman as football players, as professional players? I'm assuming like you guys have your like your goals have upgraded now that you've reached the professional stage. Do you guys mind sharing what are some of those? Maybe you can start with you, Abby.
For me right now is just honestly to just develop my game more, get better and better. What I would say is you should never be content with
Yeah.
where you are. You should always look to achieve higher, get better, and that's just one thing I want to focus on. It's just improving myself on and off the pitch.
Yeah. Yes. How about you, naman, Peter? What's your goal as a professional player? Short and long term goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think short term is just every day, just trying to get better as a player. Working
Mm-hmm.
on that, and but obviously the biggest goal for me is like trying to cement myself as a player here in
Yeah.
the Philippines
Right.
overall. So like, and getting to that is going to take a lot of work, but that's what I'm playing the game for. So
Yeah.
you just want to get better every day.
Yeah. Yes. So, are you guys training right now?
Right now
Individually,
we're
like,
doing Zoom sessions. Yeah.
yeah,
Zoom sessions. Pero like, how about like contact sports?
no,
No, you're not.
No.
It's really in a bubble setting dapat.
Uh, Not per se. We're allowed to go back into training at least like
Yeah.
a month or two before the season starts. So,
Mm.
but we'll have to go through another swab test first before we're
Oh
all clear to
yeah, the
hit the
painful
field again.
experience. So, of course, obviously, COVID put a stop to like everyone's lives, especially for athletes who constantly train, and obviously they weren't able to do that in the first couple of months or even now of COVID. So, how do you guys like aim to get better every day, especially now in this unprecedented time? Like, how do you athletes stay focused, stay motivated, and just train to get better? How do you do so, Peter?
Um, like for me, like training at home, like it's a everyday thing. Like you have to just sort of like, even on some days if you feel lazy or something, you just have to sort of, put yourself up and get yourself out there just to do it. Because like every day, if you do it every day, you will improve. As I keep saying, but yeah, you will improve.
Constantly, just
So you just
consistency.
have to it's all about the consistency for
Yeah.
sure.
Personally, how do you stay consistent, especially at this time?
Like to keep motivated, like um, for me, like it's just thinking about your long-term goals and what you
Yeah.
have to do to get there. So like when you sort of visualize what you want to be along the road, like it's sort of like for me, it motivates me to just keep working.
Yes. How about you naman, Javi? How do you stay grounded? How are you guys training during this time?
Like what Peter said a while ago, football is a very competitive sport. You never know if you'll make the team or not. So you just want to stay fit, make sure you're always at 100% going into
Yeah.
preseason at least. And for me, I wouldn't say like there would be days where, like what Peter said, you'd be really lazy, but just so much as going out for a walk already, that's like a small step. Then that would develop into a jog and to a run.
Yeah.
But basically, consistency is the key. It's really important to be consistent with your personal workouts.
In your
Doesn't
pro.
matter if you do a 10-minute workout, you do a 30-minute workout, as long as you make the effort to try and stay fit, it'll go
Yeah.
a long way.
Yeah. Those are pretty great mindsets. Like those are really that will really help you achieve your goals and stay loose, especially during this time. But I've also got to ask, who are some of your football idols or mentors, or basically those that help you be who you are now, like professional players right now? Can you start with you?
For me, in terms of football idols, like the player I most idolize, growing up and stuff, because I'm a Chelsea fan, is probably Eden Hazard.
Okay.
Um, he's like watching him play. Like I was lucky enough to see him play like in person
Did
when
you
I used to
pattern your
watch the
game after
Chelsea.
him?
I mean, the best you can do is try to pattern your game.
Yeah.
Like, but like seeing him play also like in person, like just his ball control and dribbling and like how he played the game, he just made it look so easy, and it was
Yeah.
just incredibly fun to watch him
Right.
play, and it really sort of sort of gets you going. Like it really makes you sort of really like take your sort of love for the sport to like another level because you see
Yeah.
it played so well, you know. So he's definitely an inspiration for me. But
For sure.
also like in terms of like a mentor, I'd say uh, my coach in Bangkok for the previous team that I played for, like he was massive for my development. Like he really trusted me as a player, and I really developed a lot under him in the 2 years that I played with him
Yeah.
for. Like my development just went through the roof. Like in those 2 years, I just became such a better player
Yeah.
because of the good coaching
Yeah.
and the trust they put in me. So yeah,
Yeah. Shout out to your coach. Hope he's
yeah, Coach
How about
Matthew.
you? How about you naman,
Amazing.
Happy? Who are some of your football idols or mentors that helped you get to the professional stage?
Well, when I was younger, because I grew up as an attacking midfielder, so one player that for me, I would consider him as one of the goats is Kaka,
Mm,
because the way Kaka would play the game
yeah,
would be so elegant.
right,
Um,
right.
he would just glide around, and then next thing you know, he'd be like on the other side of the field, like out of nowhere. And for me, as a young kid watching someone to be able to do that is like wow, it's mesmerizing. And I a lot of his videos, like if you go on YouTube and look at his videos, you'll just be like, wow. I mean, he was the last player before Modric won the Ballon d'Or. He was the last player to win it before the Ronaldo and Messi era. So
Mhm.
he's definitely one of the players that I idolized growing up. And in terms of mentors, I mean, I'd say my teammates, Anton, Jerry, Dave,
Very
Yannick, Serge, because they really helped me a lot
Yeah,
um,
that's
throughout the season. Like, there would be days, if you've had a bad training session, but they never make you feel down about it. They'd always try to
yeah,
put you
because
up.
it's part of
Yeah,
yeah.
they really, really help.
That's really nice of you. Shout out to your teammates. So I've got to ask, are you guys confident with the future of football here in the Philippines? Do you think in the future it's gonna be bigger than what it is now? Like it's great now, Peter mentioned a while ago that it's actually pretty out there already. But do you think in the future, obviously we can't really tell, but if you had if you were gonna foresee it, do you think it's gonna be better than how it is now, Javi?
Definitely, I think one thing that could change the game for the way football is here is when we qualify for the World Cup. Because it's very possible, it's highly possible, there's a lot of talented players in this country, a lot of talented young players too.
Yeah,
So
that's
couple of
great.
years or so,
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, we already have the Malditas who are pretty close to qualify.
yeah,
I'd say if they get into the World Cup, that's another huge step for Philippine
yeah.
football.
Are we close though? Like, are
I
we?
I think they are pretty close actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there
Especially now,
specific
like,
rank you
yeah.
have to
hmm
achieve? What's your rank right now? Would you happen to know?
Um, the Philippines, I think 113 or something around
Okay.
that.
What rank do you have to be in order to qualify for the?
You don't. It's actually not based on ranking. It's all through
Okay.
qualifying. So
Right.
you can have a team ranked 200 that would qualify for the World Cup. So, you should never count anyone out. I think the Philippines proved that in the Asian Cup. We faced South Korea, and South Korea beat Germany in the last World
Yeah.
Cup, and the Philippines held its own. So that says a
Yeah.
lot about the way
That's
our
great.
country is
That's great
developing.
news. Yeah. That's awesome. How about you, Peter? Do you have some sort of insight for that? Like, are you confident with the future of Philippine football, or do you think there's still something that needs to happen in order for it to really grow?
I think, yeah, I think we should be confident about it. I think it will grow inevitably, but I think also a bit more focus needs to be put into like the grassroots, to like the younger players, like at the lowest age level. Like there's already being stuff done about that, but I think they need to sort of put a bit more into that because I think it's very important to have that base, like of like kids that are just playing it like from the
Yeah.
very beginning. They can just work their way up as they grow up. I think that's a big thing because like in like abroad and in other countries that the youth programs are massive for
Yeah.
the respective countries. So I think if they put more into the youth programs here, I think that'll really help the growth also.
That's interesting. Thanks for that, Tito. So, I'm a firm believer that sports mirrors life. Like I've mentioned it in my past episodes that there are certain values you pick up from playing the game that you can very much apply to what you do on a daily basis. So, have you guys ever experienced na like when you're going through your routines every day, do you do something that you realize, oh, this is something you picked up from playing the sport for the longest time?
I
Yeah,
think for me,
I mean,
it's
Oh, go ahead, Javi.
Javi.
Sorry.
Yeah.
no, Pete can go first.
Okay,
Pete can go
go
first.
go ahead.
Okay. I think for me personally, it's definitely like discipline is the biggest thing for me. Like It takes a lot to, keep doing something constantly every day. But like
Yeah.
once you sort of get over that, like it just becomes second nature. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, discipline, and I think also it helped me, like the sport helped me sort of. I mean, growing up, I was like a pretty shy kid, like growing up. But
Yeah.
I think, being in a team setting and everything like that, everything that comes with the sport, it sort of helped me sort of come out of my shell a little bit growing up. So that was also a big thing for me.
Yeah, discipline. Interesting. How about you naman, Happy? Has
Yeah,
there been
uh, I I would
sorry.
agree with Peter that this discipline is a really big factor that you can get from football. Especially growing up, since I was under the Coach Hans program. If you play for Coach Hans, you need to have discipline. That's
Like, what did he
one
make
thing I
you
can
do?
say.
What did Coach Hans make you do?
Coach Hans was a very tough coach, but he was also a very he was a how do I say this? You learn a lot. You learn so much from him. Like once you get past the hardship of it all, you really reflect and okay, I learned so much. Another thing I could say football has taught me would be patience.
Sorry, patience.
Big
Yeah,
patience, yeah.
yeah.
Because like when I was back in high school, I was a reserve goalkeeper. So as a reserve goalkeeper, you struggle. You don't really get playing time, and
Yeah,
you just have to be patient with it. And I think discipline and patience are the two most um, ideal values that I've gotten from football.
right. Have you had mentioned a while ago that parang during your career or tenure of like your time playing football, parang you had gone through injuries na, right? And then now you had mentioned na you were a reserve goalkeeper. So how did you stay the course? Like, were there people who kept uplifting you? And what were your injuries? What were the injuries you had to deal with?
I've dealt with a lot of knee injuries actually.
Knee injuries, yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty common across.
I've slightly torn my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's
yeah,
insane. How did you get back
yeah.
from that?
A lot of rehab actually, a lot of rehab and strengthening. There would be times though that I'd not play for 6 months, 7 months, but it's the love for the game that I can't give it up. So, but thankfully over the last few years I haven't been dealt with a serious
Yeah.
injury, and I hope I won't moving
Yeah,
into the
hopefully,
future.
yeah.
So hopefully, yeah.
How do you conquer that fear? Like obviously for me personally, if I get injured and I play out there again, like there's that trauma in the back of my head, right? Like, oh,
hmm
something could happen. I mean, it can happen to
Um,
any athlete that just comes. So how do you conquer the fear of just the fear of getting injured for especially for someone like you who's dealt with numerous a number of them?
I would say it's tough because I had to change the way I play
Ah, okay. You mean your
because
position or
yeah,
yeah,
not my position per se, but just the way I move and play
adjust, yeah.
because yeah, because when I was younger, I was really reckless. I
Yeah,
would just go in like full steam, not think about the
yeah,
consequences. And now you really have to look out for your body. That's one thing I can say about being an athlete is health is wealth, and you really have to take care of yourself to be able to um, achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. And it's just never give up. Like,
yeah. I
and
like that.
what I said earlier about football, having patience is a really big factor, and that helped me get through all my injuries.
Yeah, that's really nice. Thanks for that, Javi. How about you naman, Peter? Have you dealt with any setback before na you realize na you were able to conquer eventually?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been as unlucky as Javi in terms of injuries. I've not really had any like
Okay.
major injuries, thankfully, but to deal with. But in terms of things I've had to overcome, it's like in Bangkok, starting out there, the first team I played for, like it wasn't easy. Like the level was very high,
Yeah.
and at the beginning, I couldn't really compete. So, and I just sort of had to go back to the drawing board a little bit and really sort of knuckle down and train even harder to try and get to that level. And then, the next team after that, I'd play a bit better, and I'd actually get into the team and actually play. So that's really the main things I've had to deal with is sort of, I guess, like rejection, I guess, almost. 'Cause
Rejection. Yeah. That's
it's like
interesting. Yeah.
you want to play for the team, but you're not quite good enough. So the coach
Yeah.
is, not picking you and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah. How did you stay the course? Like, how did you manage to like conquer that fear of rejection?
I mean, I think it's tough because it's it's a pretty it's not a very nice thing, but like I think if you just have to sort of try and get it out of your head and just keep doing what you're doing and
Yeah,
just
for sure.
try and improve and then just go again the next time. Just don't think about it.
Yeah. So last two questions before we go to break. First question I'd like to ask is if you were talking to a kid right now, let's say I'm a kid that just wants to get into football per se, what do you tell them to do? Like, is there a specific program you guys would advise them to enroll to, or how do you advise a kid to just, get better at football?
I think the first thing, if you're like a total beginner, is just to join like an academy or like like a coaching program, some sort of
Yeah.
coaching program to just teach you the basics first. I think that's the best entry point.
Join an academy. Yeah, that's. I think that's really important. You get to expose yourself more. No. How about you, man? Javi, what advice would you give someone who just wants to go, just wants to expose themselves more to the sport?
Because I've had the opportunity to coach kids at a young age,
Oh
and
wow. Okay. For
the
what? For
one
them?
thing no, for
Just
Sando Athletic
yeah.
and for Southridge actually, yeah.
Right.
One thing I would say to children that want to like pursue football is, don't think of not being able to do this. Just have fun. I mean,
Have fun. Yeah.
you'll get to meet people, just have fun with it. And, you know, I mean, there are a lot of people who play football just for fun because they enjoy it. And, like what I said earlier, you'll never know till you try. So just have fun, get a ball, kick around, see where it goes.
Yeah, I like that. I think we can leave it at that. The importance of having fun, just kicking the ball, and of course, what you both had mentioned: discipline, patience, and never giving up. So, with that, we'll kick it to break, and we'll be right back with more.
We'll be back shortly. This is Sportswatch, only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Pagpatak ng 7, dapat lahat nakatutok sa amin. Catch these programs at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Talk Shop Asia Global, USA Edition with Rolly Pagaspas and Rosario Cajucom Bradbury. Home Not Alone, Sounds from Home with Papa Gio and Freedom in Christ with Felson. It's all about entrepreneurship, entertainment, and enlightenment. Back to back programs at 7. LA at 7. LA at 7. Exclusively on V81 Radio, Los Angeles. kabayan, nahuhomesick ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang Tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Now back to Sportswatch, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Okay, we're back here at Sportswatch with our guests, Javi and Peter. Let's bring them back. Okay, this segment is a little tougher. Like my guests always have a hard time in this part. It's called the rapid fire. No, I'm just kidding. It's really just chill. So I'm gonna throw out questions, and then all you guys have to do is tell me what comes to your head, like the first answer that comes out of your head. Just spit it out. No need to think. So ready?
Yep.
Okay,
Do
game.
it.
So, who from the both of you is always the earliest to training?
Peter.
Peter.
Peter, 100%.
Really? Do you
Yeah,
agree?
I like to be punctual. Definitely.
That's great. That's great. Who's the better FIFA player from the both of you?
Me.
You.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
Come on. No way. No way.
Have you guys actually played?
We have,
Yeah,
actually.
we play each other. Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, he's beaten me and I've beaten him. But
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
true.
want to put
Posted
this
a
out
live
there.
FIFA session.
No, we played online, but this one thing I can say about FIFA and one of our teammates, just putting this out there, just for fun.
Yeah.
MJ Libre is not a good FIFA player. No, he's not. I'm just
It's
kidding,
true.
MJ.
It's true.
Shout out to him.
Oh, he asked for it. Yeah. Hi, MJ.
Hello, and so you both think, you both are individually are better at FIFA than the other.
Yeah, I mean, we're both pretty competitive, so
Yeah. Who's your go-to FIFA team?
Chelsea.
Man City.
Okay, interesting. How about in the team naman, besides the both of you, who's the best FIFA player? Put it out there.
I don't know. I don't think there's anyone better than me now. I'm
Oh,
just kidding.
wow.
No, I'd say Chris is pretty good too. Chris Lawless,
Yeah.
pretty good FIFA
Oh,
player,
actually,
yeah.
Jose Montalbano is also good.
And Bim actually is not bad too. But MJ is not good. MJ is not good.
Poor MJ.
MJ's really good on the field though.
On
But
the field.
on FIFA,
Needs more practice.
How about you naman, Peter? Who do you think is the best FIFA player in your team?
I think Jose. Jose is the best.
Okay, hopefully he's watching right now, so he knows he's the best. Who from the both of you is more competitive, both on and off the court?
I mean, that's tough. I mean,
I'd
everyone.
say, yeah, everyone's competitive.
I think
so-
everyone on the team is competitive. Like it's tough. Like you have to be competitive, otherwise you just can't really.
So
Okay.
basically, everyone has that competitive fire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one word to describe your team.
family.
Oh wow, so that's so nice. Did you guys
No,
plan
honest-
this or it was
No. Honestly, we really grew closer, especially entering the bubble. So
great? Favorite country or place you have competed in so far?
For me, it's probably Bangkok for sure.
Bangkok. How's
Well-
it like there in Javi? If I can
no,
just ask, yeah.
hold on.
How is it like competing in Bangkok, Peter? I never got to ask you kanina. Is there a difference with how the sport is played there compared to here in the Philippines?
The level is a bit higher for sure, but like I think the main difference is just how the sport's viewed over there. Like they are, it's almost like England. Like football is their main sport. So, but like, I think the atmosphere at the stadiums and that is better also because more people come out to watch. Also, so, yeah, it's good to play in that environment.
Great. How about you naman, Javi? Favorite country or place you've competed in throughout the time you've been playing football?
I actually haven't played abroad yet, so but I have played in Visayas, in Bacolod, and wow, it's different there too. The I would say football is the sport in the Western Visayas region, so it's fun playing over there.
Interesting. Okay, next. Dream country place you guys would want to compete in?
Japan for me.
Japan. Oh, I haven't seen the football scene there. But that's
It's big there also. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say Japan, but now I'm not gonna say Japan. It's beautiful Japan. So I would say Germany. I'd say
Germany. Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Interesting. Any athlete slash personality you would want to have dinner with? Both outside foot can be outside football or in football.
LeBron.
Yeah, me too.
LeBron.
I'd put a double date with AD. You're a Laker fan, Javi?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I'm a Pacers fan actually.
Pacers. Oh, you got something good there with Oladipo and PJ.
Sabonis.
Yeah, he's my fantasy team. How about you, Peter? Who do you want to have dinner with?
Honestly, probably uh, someone like Messi, I guess.
Messi. Oh, you're sticking to football. Interesting. Okay.
I'd be able to like pick his brains on how he plays and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's interesting. That would be interesting. Toughest opponent you face ever.
I think. Go. Yeah, you can go
Go
first.
for it. Go for it, Javi.
I think most recently.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No,
No,
go
it's
Peter.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. Go.
I think most recently probably United City, because like they're one of the best in Asia,
Yeah.
ranked wise, and their players are like top level. So I think playing against them was like probably the toughest so far in my career.
Interesting. How about you naman, Javi? Toughest opponent?
If I were to single out one person, I think I would single out this person because I played against him multiple times in the UAP and in our youth leagues. Would be Harvey.
Harvey
Gayoso.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
and he recently just signed for a club in Thailand. So
Thailand. Yeah.
yeah, Harvey is probably one of the toughest opponents I've faced.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's an year, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Best moment with your team?
I think winning our first game in the bubble.
Yeah, 100%. The Stallion game.
Like how we felt after that game, like when we finished, like on the sidelines
Yeah.
after the game, like it was just like really good.
Who team did you defeat then?
Stallion.
Stallion.
Stallion Laguna.
Okay.
Really good team, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the score?
2-1.
2-1. Not bad. Okay. Did any of you score at that time, or it was like a team?
No, it was.
No, it was Jose and Jeremy.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, pretty much with their first and second touch, actually. Right? Yeah, I could recall.
Yeah, we came from 1-0 down to win 2-1 in that game. So it was good.
Favorite aspect or thing about football? Like, what is it about the sport you love the most? Describe it in one word.
Elegance.
Elegant. Interesting. You naman, Peter.
Competition.
Yes. Javi, describe Peter in one word, and Peter describe Javi in one word. So maybe we can start. Sige, sabay na lang. Okay. Ano, actually.
Johnny!
That's
no,
that's a
no,
name.
no.
Peter, fill in the blank. Javi is
Reliable.
reliable. And Javi, fill in the blanks. Peter is
Composed.
Oh, nice words. I love
Wow,
it.
thank you.
Okay, thanks for that.
Just
That
like
was it
Johnny.
for our rapid fire. Would be back to wrap things up.
We'll be back shortly. This is Sportswatch, only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Pagpatak ng 7, dapat lahat nakatutok sa amin. Catch these programs at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Talk Shop Asia Global, USA Edition, with Rolly Pagaspas and Rosario Cahucum Brad Perry. Home Not Alone, Sounds from Home, with Papa Gio. And Freedom in Christ, with Felson. It's all about entrepreneurship, entertainment, and enlightenment. Back-to-back-to-back programs at 7. LA at 7. LA at 7. Exclusively on V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Kabayan, nahuhomesick ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang Tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Now back to Sportswatch, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Okay, we're back here at Sports Watch with our guests, Javi and Peter. Hi again, you both. So, before we wrap things up, I'd like to ask you a last question. Obviously, like we talked about it a while ago, you guys found your passion gradually as you grew up. For Javi, it started throughout his varsity team or when he was a kid pa lang. And then for Peter, meanwhile, it was being exposed as you traveled around the world, right? So, can you share lang some encouraging words for people who can find or people who are trying to find their passion, not just specifically for football, but basically like something they can do. Hopefully they can pursue professionally one day, just like what you guys did. Like, how would you advise someone to go for what they're good at, or maybe find that calling of theirs, just like what you guys did throughout um growing up. So yeah, maybe we can start with you, Peter.
Okay, so I think the main thing is, you need to be able to find something that you yourself like enjoy doing. That's like the main thing. Like you have to enjoy doing it. Otherwise, it may feel like a chore or whatever. But I think also you have to sort of be open to trying things. Otherwise, you may be missing out on whatever it is that you could be doing. So I think you have to be open to trying things and make sure you enjoy it. And also, when you do find something that you enjoy, and you just have to stay consistent. That's the key to just being better at it. Just stay consistent.
Stay consistent and find what brings you joy. Okay, that's interesting. Thanks for that, Peter. How about you naman, Javi? How would you advise someone to find their calling or that passion of theirs? Your mic. Yeah. No, can you speak? No, he's not there again. We wait for him, but then there. Oh, there.
Okay,
There.
now
Yes, yes.
Okay, there we go.
Good.
sorry, my mic is really bad. Like,
No worries, no problem. Technology.
I'd say don't be afraid to take risks.
I like that, yeah.
I follow the saying, whenever it feels scariest to jump, that's when you jump. Because I'd rather try and fail rather than live with the regret of not trying. So don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone to try a new thing.
Right. Thanks for that, Javi. Thank you for that, Peter. Those were really encouraging words. Before I let you both go, can you please share your team or even personal social media handles so our audience or people out there can follow your football club and what maybe perhaps we can expect from your team moving forward.
Well, Maharlika FC on Instagram. It's pretty simple. Yeah. Our team has a lot of open Zoom training sessions where you guys can join
Interesting.
the workout.
Yeah.
Mostly NWF at 4 p.m.
And your Southside football, maybe you'd wanna.
Oh yeah. If you guys want to check it out, it's just Southside Football on Facebook. Well, not really lively now. There's not a lot of open play going on, but as soon as it's clear for us to start playing football again for fun, then something you might want to check out.
How about you naman, Peter? Do you want to promote your personal IG or any social media platforms your team is on? Or
Yeah, just Maharlika FC, Instagram, Facebook. Just make sure to follow the team, and hopefully we'll be getting back out there soon in some
So you're not-
on-field training sessions. But yeah,
there, for those that want to expose themselves to football more, those that want to get into sport, join their team's open session. So, yeah, do you guys want to share your personal handles or?
Well, I guess Javi Costco on Instagram. That's it.
yeah. For me, it's Peter _IV on Instagram.
All right. With that, thank you so much, Peter and Javi, for hanging out with me today. It was interesting and fun talking about football, your team, and the football scene here in the Philippines. So thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having me.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like Javi and Peter's stories, your destiny comes unexpectedly. It can start with as simple as kicking a football in your backyard, like what Javi did, or going to sports games around the world, or maybe just as simple as your backyard, like what Peter did. You'll never really know unless you actually try and pursue it eventually. That's the beauty of exploring what you want to do at a young age and eventually finding ways to explore and eventually finding ways to pursue it, just like how they both pursued what they love to do, aka football, professionally. So that's it for Sportswatch today. Once again, this is your sports girl anchor, Nicole Ganglani. Thank you for tuning in today. Catch me live every Saturday from 11 to 12:30 a.m. for more sports action. This weekend, we have a good list of shows coming your way, starting with Making a Difference every Saturday, 3 p.m. Today, actually, 3 p.m. to 4:30, hosted by Erica Mison, followed by New Alternative Pinoy Music tomorrow, Sunday, 1 to 2:30, hosted by Charlie Diaz and Bards Moro, followed by Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, Sundays, 8 p.m. to 7:30, and last but not least, Practical Magic from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So that will do it for today. I'll catch you all next week. Peace.
Buckle up and get ready, set, and go. We're bringing you the action on air here on Sportswatch. Join Sports Girl anchor Nicole Ganglani as she dives deep into the lives of the athletes, fitness personalities, and enthusiasts from sports industry. Sportswatch every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Philippine time. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Tunog Pinoy, Tatak Pinoy, your all hits, all Pinoy digital radio station in South Manila. This is V81 Radio.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan.